What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Commentary for You Asked Me, I delivered. You said you should do this live stream. So I'm here. Chantel comes online unprepared as ever, has to put her YouTube plaque behind her, reassures the chat she's going to be on the treadmill, says that she has not went for her walk today. Less than 2 minutes in, she's also singing Long Legs. I will say that I'm thankful to hear her grandfather, who lives in Fort Myers, apparently is safe. My thoughts are with everyone. I have friends down in Florida that are just getting the brunt of this storm right now. Chantal said she did a grocery haul. She wants to show it off. She's got apparently 3 bags of frozen broccoli, some grapefruit that we see, but she also got some snacks. And don't worry, it's just going to be small servings, accountability checks galore. The real question, though, is why? Why is this even on the list? Yesterday, we're on the treadmill, and we realize how much effort it takes to burn 5 calories. We say, I'm never eating again, liquid food. That doesn't even account for a chip. And here she is, holding up bags of salt and vinegar chips, bags of Doritos. And she has pride. She's got a smile. She knows. The whole stream, she complains about stomach pains. And she says that no one should worry about these chips. Salah's been in control of everything. He's got everything on his side of the room. She can't even get to him. They do urge her to make better choices the entire stream. It starts with just going outside, walking. She said she wants to. She wants to get fresh air, but she really also wants to see those stray cats. And after 15 minutes of just nonstop whining, she said she just needs to get the treadmill over with. Instead of doing that, she's wasting more time with Julia. She's going over all the programs the treadmill offers. At the 21-minute mark, she gets on the treadmill, sets it to 1.6, then 2.0, and proclaims 1 calorie burned. After being on the treadmill for only a minute, she said she has to go to the bathroom, which, ironically, she had just done. By the 23-minute, 30-second mark, she's out of breath. She's struggling just to walk and talk. Julia is distracting her. She admits the treadmill doesn't seem to be working properly. She tries singing, and the chat tells her, can you just focus on 10 minutes of working out and getting this done? She instead says, well, my heart rate is up to 90. It's up to 100. And that her Temu order has shipped. Chantal apparently ordered Temu accessories for her GoPro, which is a horrible idea. Chantal, why would you actually go get a name brand camera that does have a cost to it and then put it in junk to protect it? I mean, it's really one of the most Chantal things you can imagine. Once that arrives, apparently, all the content will start flowing. She shows the treadmill. Julia says that this is going to make her skinny, and she's going to add in some chair exercises. She goes back to talking about how Amy Ramadan did those. The chat is concerned about the heart rate. She says, don't worry, blood pressure's fine, goes over all her current medications. And then there's kind of arguments about the grapefruit. And again, it's all good-hearted. You know, they're telling her, check with your doctor, check your medications. Maybe this isn't the best option for you, but she just excuses all that advice. She promises to go outside, needs to go to the bathroom first, and says Salah's going to go with her. I think she meant to the bathroom, but also outside. So they did both. She also really wants this Oreo Pepsi. And the chat and Salah are united against this. And she argues and argues that she can have it. Neither of them budge, though. She returns from the bathroom, still trying to persuade each of them, let me go get the soda. Even going as far to say, had they went to the classes, they would understand that one soda isn't going to hurt anything. It's just fine. And that she can't cut everything out. The reality is, she'd already went over the chips. The chips were the treat. And how we went from I'll have fruit when I need sweets to now I need Oreo flavored soda is beyond me. She then puts everyone on mute. They go outside. Takes her about an hour to do that, but I digress. She does go outside. The parking lot full of stray cats. Salah, of course, power shotting around. She continues to carry on about the soda, how she's sweating. There's also 2 men arguing in the parking lot. Chantal talks about her hatred for crossing the street. She's yelling. She's giggling. She's just going across the road. There's nothing comical here. They eventually get across. Salah, of course, taking more power shots while she just kind of blankly stares in the camera and waves, says hello. It could not be more awkward. And after 10 minutes, she stops walking. She feels sick. She does continue on and then stops, saying she doesn't want to sit down in the stand. And Salah offers to kind of just have them walk down the parking lot, putting the flash on her. And Chantal gets very angry when he puts the flash on, basically telling him to stop. And that's kind of a theme for about the next 10 minutes of this vlog is she's getting very passive aggressive with him. She's mad that they end up walking to a place where she has nowhere to sit down and then props herself up on this ledge of a parking barrier. And she says, she's not ready for this. And then tells Salah that he has to mute the stream. He mutes it. It's awkward silence. Salah then returns, filming her walk. There's tires squealing. He leaves her in the road to kind of walk through toward him to get these power shots. She is gasping for air. She's complaining about being dizzy. She needs to sit down. They kind of go back to where the pool is. It's now empty. Chantal just kind of apologizes and admits that she gets crabby when she's tired. Salah has gotten her medicine, apparently. She kind of goes back over everything she's taking, and she talks about how much easier it is to walk. The internet connection also really starts to fade here, so things get very grainy. She instantly, though, starts to talk about food. Her favorites, his favorites, the chat favorites. Salah wants to know more about her IBS, and I bet he does. They carry on about all her issues, none of which Salah seems to be aware of. The conditions that she said that she's had, the operation she's needed. Chantal then makes a couple demands to go up and get in the AC. And at first, they're very just in passing, kind of her saying, hey, I need to go up. And then she just gets to a point where she basically points upstairs and says, hey, we're going upstairs. She then also has to ask how long they've been together, which I really thought is weird because, their anniversary is apparently coming up. She, of course, constantly complains about the heat. She's complaining about how sore she's going to be. And after an hour and 55 minutes, it's seal time. And don't worry, because just like the Doritos, she's earned this. It takes her time to catch her breath. Salah wants to go play the keyboard. Chantal complains about being sick. And really, the last hours, her laying on the sofa, complaining and singing. Salah plays the same 4 to 5 songs over and over. She didn't like Barney, and she felt she had one possessed as he plays the theme song. She sings random songs, asking Salah what fruits he likes. How could she not know what fruits Salah likes? They just went over the fact that he wanted a strawberry cheesecake. Chantal honestly seems miserable for a portion of this. It could be because she feels sick. It could also be because Salah won't stop playing Crazy Frog. She has to go to the bathroom. She's dancing with her hands. She's making faces. She's yawning. Salah leaves when she goes to get the grapefruit. She said she's still sick. She can't eat anything else. She really just needs water and rest right now. And of course, the grapefruit. She goes over the hall, and this is really when she starts to tell on herself because she said that hall also included bagels and cream cheese. Earlier today, she showed that she had a whole bunch of cheese left. She said the team order just has the GoPro accessories. It doesn't have any clothing. Right now, she admits she only has about 5 outfits that fit. She plans on losing so much weight, she's just going to order more clothes then. And the chat, kind of gets on her about this, and she says, listen, she understands what she needs to do when it comes to sugar. She just doesn't do it. And she goes on to justify her choices, saying things like, sourdough is the healthier bread, which I feel like some company needs to trademark, even though it's completely false. And she says, she hasn't had a lot of junk since Thailand, so all of this is acceptable. It's light cream cheese after all. She then, again, kind of tells on herself and says, well, in that team order, I also ordered the largest bra. And she, of course, lets this opportunity to go to slip in a joke. And Chantal, I can't imagine laughing at anyone else. If I needed over an hour break from walking across the street while I'm forced to stay online for 3 hours because clearly Salah has given you a quota to be online. She responds by trying to juggle grapefruits, and obviously we see that she can't handle more than 2 balls, and considering that she hasn't had a large pair of balls in her hands for years, if ever, it's unreal that she thought she could actually juggle. And Chantal, that is how subliminal jokes work, just so you know for next time. They urge her to wash her clothes and be careful what she gets from Temu. And she just complains that she's too sick to eat and she really needs to lay down and seal. And she says Julie has like this perfect mix of BBJ and Sam. And she pushes back against the chat. And she says she never washes clothes and she's never grown a third leg because of it. Well, then, Chantal, I would offer whatever you're doing, maybe you should pass that along to Salah because Apparently, he needs a little bit of that. And again, that's how subliminal jokes work. She then goes over these stories, and even the chat at this point, which is tolerant of her 30-year-old stories, are in a way grossed out by this. She starts to talk about how she was jealous of other girls having their period before her and how she still wishes she had hers. And the chat asks, how can you and why can you recall these stories from 30 years ago in such detail? And she goes, back to the surgery she had and how the doctors were telling her way back then that she needed to be in better health, and compares Julia to having a child when Julia wants fruit that she's left out. And honestly, the chat just kind of grows tired of this. Even the hardcore Beezers are tired of hearing this, and it's just not logical coming from an adult. The rest of the chat is basically her just going over her medical issues, which honestly, Chantel, some of your past medical issues and even some of the more minor ones really should be the least of the concern, when the reality is you are in such terrible physical shape that walking to you is this monumental task that requires a great deal of rest. And perhaps if Salah truly did care, he wouldn't force you to stay on. It's no joke. You literally waited for the 3 hour mark to log off. We all see it. You make it so noticeable. She does say tomorrow she's going to come back online. She's going to do the treadmill. And despite having finished her walk 90 minutes ago, she then proclaims that she's worried about getting out of these sweat soaked clothes and getting a shower. Again, Chantal, all of this is setting yourself up for an absolute collapse. When you go out and you tell us, hey, I'm chafing. Hey, I'm sweating. Hey, I'm drenched. The priority should be coming home, getting clean, drying off. Not let me sit in my sweat soaked clothing so that I can maintain another 60 minutes online in the hopes of a super chat, in the hopes of additional income, because that's what we need. Chantal, please go to Salah and tell him it's going to be okay. He can cut out the Crazy Frog concerts. I'm going to leave you with the top comments from the last video. I appreciate you watching this one, and I will be back, just like Chantal on that treadmill, as soon as I can, with more commentary.